Hello, welcome to my channel. Hope everybody's doing well today. We're going to go over the 3D printer Ender 3 Pro. It's going to be the assembly of the entire printer, including the first print. So, without further ado, let's get over to the table and see what we got going on. So, as a quick side note, I've never assembled a Ender version style 3D printer. I currently have a Monoprice, and I have experience with a Prusa, Monoprice, a couple other little ones. Well, let's see what we have going on here. First, opening the box up. So, looking through the box, I see we have the instruction manual. Set that aside. We have the build plate. Now, this is magnetic, and I don't have much experience with these, but that feels really smooth, really sturdy. Let's go ahead and take everything out, set it all on the table. So, we have everything laid out here along the table. Now, let's look at the instruction manual. As we're doing this together for the first time, make sure we have all the components, list 1, list 2. And then let's go step by step, only 12 steps. So before beginning step 1, Creality gives us a little toolkit here. I'm going to go ahead and use these tools and make sure all the bolts are tightened as they should be on the already pre-assembled bottom tray. So, let's see what we have here. Alright, so beginning step 1, we need the M5 45 screws. And then we need these two bigger channels, double channels. And we need the assembly pre-assembled tray. So, beginning off, looking at the instructions, when this is turned around, so this back plate is back here, the shorter holes, on with just it's one pair of holes on the bottom, goes right here. And then on the other side, you have the bigger gap here with the two holes that goes just like this on this side. And the bolts will just go up and in through the bottom. Just like we talked about, the holes are on the inside with the longer gap here, shorter gap here, and then the two holes are on the bottom. Now it's important to note these are pretty loose because you don't want to tighten everything up right away. You want to mate till the end so it's all mated and everything fits well. So step 2 calls out for M4-20, the two bolts here, and then the M5-8, which is shown here. And we also need the power supply and the front. We're just going to very simply attach the front with these two bolts to the holes down here, just like the instructions say. And the power supply, looking at the instructions, will go behind it. We'll screw into those two holes right here and here, and we'll go right behind it. Now, a very important step I forgot to mention is to make sure that the power supply is set to the right voltage that your house is at. I'm here in America, so we usually run about 110 or 115 as shown here. So let's switch it over. 115. Just make sure you double check that. Don't hurt your new 3D printer. Now for step 3, we are attaching the Z-axis limit switch. So it comes in this little baggie here. It's so you can set home. The printer doesn't know where it's at when you first turn it on, so it has to zero itself out, and that's what the purpose of this is for. For this next step, we need the M4-18s. We need the rod for the Z-axis, and we need the servo for the Z-axis. And this will be quite simple. It will attach right here. The bolts will go through, and this will just be placed inside and locked down. Alright, now step 5 can get kind of confusing, so we'll look through it step by step. So, there's two pieces. Look for the piece with the two holes on the outside, big hole that's, you can see, cut through, chamfered. Two holes on the outside, and then cut through. This is the small piece we need. And then we have this. Now the nozzle you see, if you can just imagine this orientation right here, the filament feeds through here, so this is where this nozzle screws into that we had the little bag of. And with the two holes on the inside, and this notch connects directly like this with the bolts going through there. And you can see the limiter switch right here to home the axis. I believe this is y-axis. Alright, now step 6 might also look kind of confusing, but let's keep the same orientation. Obviously you have your bolts in here, just like last step. This essentially is just going to slide right on, just like this. Don't worry if it's too tight or too loose, we'll adjust it here in a second. And then this, so you have the 4 holes with this cutout for this bolt, just like that. And then they get tightened on along with the same screws as last time, the M4-16, just screw right in. And that's all that's needed for this step. Alright, so for step 7 and 8, they're fairly straightforward. Here in this small package you have your tensioner. Now if you spin your little kind of gant here around, you have the barcode on the outside, this on the outside. You use the same exact procedure as before, so make sure that these lock into the T-channel and place them in, lock them in place. So after that's in, you have your belt. Your belt essentially runs around this entire bottom. There's a good illustration of it. So you're going to go all the way around. You're going to go over the stepper motor in there. Don't know if you can see that or not. It's going to come underneath the wheels, and then we're going to tension it here in a second. So I went ahead and completed step 9. It was as simple as just putting the assembly we created onto our current machine as it's taking shape, as you can see here. Right here it just pushes down. There's 2 bolts here we have to tighten. Make sure you don't over tighten it. The book has that in red. So step 10 will be the top brace that will be put on top of the whole assembly, and what you will need for that is M5-25 and these 2 caps. It'll just help it look nice, a little cover over everything. Alright, now for step 11, this is going to be attaching the spool holder. So here's just 2 parts. I already went and tightened it on. This is going to go over here. So looking at the front of it, it's going to go attached like this. You're going to need the M5-8 bolts and these locking bolts, and the same thing as before. Let's go ahead and put it on. Okay, now for step 12, it's just wiring everything. It's self-explanatory here. This is looking from the left side. You can see the Z-axis motors, the power, X-axis, extruder, the display that's on the one closest to the printer. Keep that in mind. We also need to plug in the filament, which you can see. It's just pushing this back, pushing it in and letting it release, and you can see it pops out and it locks. Alright, now that everything is hooked up, time to put the power cord on and see if it all fires up. Make sure that's in all the way. Let's plug it in and see if it works. Go auto home, see if we wired everything up correctly. Let's go ahead and level the bed, disable the stepper motors so we can move around here. It's typically done with a piece of paper. And we have the dial down here. I'm going to go ahead and preheat. We have the sample filament we were given. Let's go ahead and load it in here. That's a wrap. We built the Ender 3 Pro, and I also have the Monoprice Select Mini, my first printer. I printed the same Benchy off Thingiverse. The details inside of the Ender, it really did a good job. I see some stringy, but overall excellent quality for the first print. Monoprice always performs well, and that's all. I appreciate you watching this video. Please let me know in the comments what I could do better, what I need to work on, and thank you for watching.